Hey Dan. So, Indiana Jones and Sophia Hapgood have returned to Barnett College in search of Plato's Lost Dialogue, which we have just been told is somewhere in the Sprague Collection. Now, it isn't always going to be in the Sprague Collection. That's actually one of the ways that the game will randomize elements in order to increase the replayability.
So why are you dragging me in here?
This is Caswell Hall. We store all our junk here.
You think Plato's Lost Dialogue is junk?
I'll decide once I see it.
Some people have no faith. I'll meet you in your office.
But here in Caswell Hall, you can check what's on the bulletin board.
It says, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?"
Good question.
It says, "Edward Teller, phone home."
Maybe one more?
It says, "Movie tonight, The 39 Steps."
I don't know that one.
It says, "For sale, Woodstock typewriter with floating carriage, $50.
Seems expensive for the time.
It says, "For sale, 1937 Ford Coupe, like new, $300.
I honestly can't tell if that's a good deal at the time.
It says, "Wanted, ride share to World's Fair."
Alright. So we can either go straight up the stairs, or we can go back into the office. Now there's one item in your office that you sometimes need, and I say sometimes because, again, where the Lost Dialogue is will be determined randomly by the game.
I believe it's part of the old Pierce collection.
So as you search around, you'll be able to look at things. So we know that the tipped over bookcase is the Pierce collection, so that's not what we're looking for.
It's an old lecture hall desk, complete with a wad of gum, I'll bet.
Once he's noticed that, you can pick up the gum.
Sure is gooey. I think I've read them all. I don't need them, they're just textbooks.
And those aren't part of any collection. So instead, use the rope to climb up to the next level. And we're going to have a look around.
Looks like textiles from the Shamet collection.
Not the Shamet collection.
Looks like beadwork from the Phoenix collection.
Not the Phoenix.
The label says unidentified potsherds.
So it's not here. There's a chance it's up in the highest level of the attic. But there's one other place for us to look first. Going back down the stairs and into the basement, where we have the furnace. Now if you try to walk up the coal chute,
It's too slippery to walk up.
Indy will tell you that it's too slippery, so you use the gum.
I think I'll stick this on my shoes for traction. What do you know? The gum works!
It's funny that he says that before he even starts walking. And these books were part of the Pierce collection.
Part of the old Pierce collection.
There we go. Another thing to look at are the cat figurines.
I believe it's part of the old Dunlop collection.
All right.
I believe it's part of the old Dunlop collection. Miscellaneous antique vases. Miscellaneous antique vases. Miscellaneous antique vases. Miscellaneous
All
antique
those
vases.
are the same. If you can open the drawers.
They're drawers.
Apparently you can, though there's
Seems to be locked.
Nothing useful in them. So what that means is we're going to go back down the coal chute. And while we're here, let's close these lockers and try to be a little more neat and tidy. So we'll cross the street and go into our office.
Well, don't just stand there. Go find Plato's Lost Dialogue.
Sophia does get on your case a little bit.
Phew. Guess I should have cleaned it out.
And inside your icebox, you find a jar,
I guess it's mayonnaise, but it looks like used motor oil.
which is, again, a bit gross. But now that we have this motor oil equivalent, we can go back up. And what we need to do is move that totem pole that's in the corner of the room. Now, if you try to do that just on its own,
The floor isn't slippery enough. It won't move.
it's too heavy. So instead you use the mayonnaise on the floor, and then pull it a couple of times. There we go. Now you can climb up it, and have a look around.
It's some kind of funeral urn. I believe it's part of the old Sprague Collection.
And there we go. We found an item from the Sprague Collection. So we open it up.
Looks like someone's ashes in here. Feels like there's something loose in here. A key? It's a stone carving of Shiva. It's a copy of an Egyptian statue of Horus. Marcus still thinks this chest belonged to Columbus. I can't lift the lid.
In order to do that, you need to
Must
pick
be
this
made out of
heavy
lead.
candlestick off the top.
There.
Now we can open up this chest, have a look
Oh.
inside,
Air.
and that's all that's in there. So there are a few different places that you can find the Lost Dialogue of Plato. Sometimes it'll be in that bookshelf that's face down, but it'll be hanging from the bookshelf, and you have to knock it down from above.
It's a medieval gargoyle.
Sometimes
Good
it's
imitation.
inside one of those cat figurines. So it took me a bit of searching around this room, and after finding this arrowhead on the shelves over here, which I don't think I need, I realized that I had to push this big crate out of the way. And now we have the dusty key with the dusty old chest.
There's a manuscript inside. The Lost Dialogue of Plato.
And now we have the Lost Dialogue of Plato.
The chest is empty.
So the dusty chest is one of the locations where you can find the Lost Dialogue of Plato. And the game will randomly select one of those locations and change up the name of the collection that it's in, so that you don't always know exactly where it's going to be every single time. Now we can take this back in and speak to Sophia.
I got it. I found Plato's Lost Dialogue.
Really?
Our jungle friend Sternhardt is quite the scholar.
Let me see.
And not only do you take possession of it, but you can actually read excerpts from it. And you have to do this in order to complete the game, because there are, again, some randomized elements that are put in here. So we have the Hermocrates. Now at last I have Plato's Lost Dialogue translated entirely. The Greek original is lost, so I've used the Arabic text I found in an Italian monastery years ago and always thought was a hoax. Now I wonder, could this remarkable book hold the secret to long-lost Atlantis? Probably not. No one will publish it, that's certain. The fear of ridicule is too great. To be safe, I've sent a copy to Sprague. Charles Sternhardt, London, 1922. So as we leaf through, Hermocrates and Socrates are having their dialogue. In shame I hereby do recant the time and place whereof Critias spoke. In rendering Egyptian into Greek he made a tenfold error. Instead of lying 3,000 miles hence, Atlantis may well have been 30,000 miles away, or perhaps it was less than 300 miles from our own shores. Likewise, it may be that the Lost Kingdom held sway as many as 100,000 years ago, or as few as 1,000. If a kingdom arose on Earth beyond anywhere men might travel, then we would never hear of it. We ought to accept the lesser figure. So glorious Atlantis founded two colonies, the lesser 340 miles north of the city and the greater 390 miles to the south. The gates of the kingdom opened only with the aid of special stones. And here's where it gives you clues to solve puzzles later on. At many outposts, a sunstone sufficed if hot sunlight bathed the tall horns. So in there it'll tell you how to align the sunstone. At the greater colony, a moonstone was also needed, with pale dawn to shred the darkest night. To approach Atlantis itself, a world stone was required as well, with the rising sun breaking night's grip above the fiery peak. Final entrance yielded only to contrary minds. And it is said that dwellers in Atlantis had no horses, nor any need of them. Orichalcum, the metal that glittered like fire, this they had instead. They cast it into shiny beads and used them as we do minted coins, paying statues to do their work as if by magic. When their colonies were failing, wise men carved strange devices out of amber to search for the metal, but only proud Atlantis ever yielded a supply. That's another clue. On some of the paths you can take, you'll need to use amber to locate orichalcum. You have called the kingdom wealthy, but surely this is absurd. And on the final pages that you can read. As the waters rose around their city, the kings of Atlantis one after another sought to hold off fate. Knowing mortal men would never rule the sea, they planned a huge colossus, which by use of orichalcum, 10 beads at a time, would make them like the gods themselves. Nur-Absal was one such king. He it was, say the wise men of Egypt, who first put men in the colossus, making many freaks of nature at times when the celestial spheres were well aligned. This I doubt, says Socrates. We are hearing a child's tale. Now this is the point of the game at which you will be given the option to choose which path to take. The wits, the fists, or the team path.
I don't see how this will help us find Atlantis.
Plato mentions colonies and outposts. We'll find them.
But he doesn't name them.
You continue talking to Sophia briefly.
Other sources may identify them for us.
I wonder, where's my spirit guide when I need him?
Come on, Sophia. The answer's in the book, not outer space.
So he got his dates mixed up. Why is that so important?
And the tenfold error of Plato is important, comes up later as well.
Plato's error means distances could also be wrong.
So what if they are?
If Plato is right, Atlantis is in the Mediterranean.
You mean 300 miles from Greece instead of 3,000?
Yes, the cradle of civilization.
You could be right. He once told me he came from the middle of the world. That's what Mediterranean means.
Good old Nurab Sal. I'm starting to like him.
Wait, quiet. I think I'm getting something.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm fine. Dealing with Nurab Sal takes a lot of energy, that's all. Now listen. Among the artifacts that Kerner stole was a small stone disc with a hole in it. I'm sure it was one of the 3 stones mentioned in Plato's book. And I didn't find it. I bought it from Omar al-Jabbar in Algiers.
Why should he help us?
Or was it Alain Trottier in Monte Carlo? Either way, Algiers or Monte Carlo. This much I do know. You'll need all 3 stones if you want to find Atlantis.
I wonder what happens if he suggests that.
Maybe we ought to call this whole thing off.
You can weasel out later, but first I'm going to tell you a fortune. Look into my eyes.
And here we go.
Deep into my eyes. For Pete's sake, I'm not going to hurt you. Now hold still. You are a remarkable man, Dr. Jones. You possess great strength of character. You are resourceful. Always eager to solve life's deepest puzzles. I could never follow the thoughts of your maze-like mind. So I can't follow you along the twisting path that leads to Atlantis.
And now we're faced with the choice. So if you say, you're right, I better think this through alone, you will continue along the wits path. If you say, I'd rather tackle this together with you, you go on the team path. And if you say, I'd rather go into action by myself, you take the fists path. So what I'm going to do is drop down a save point. I'll put that in slot number 2. We'll just call this decision time. There we go. And I'm going to choose the wits path.
You're right, I better think this through alone.
Which will leave Sophia
I
behind
understand. Stay in
for
touch.
now, although she will come back into the game later on.
I'll send you a postcard.
So long, Indy.
And Indiana Jones heads off on the adventure. Alright, Dan, that's where I'm going to stop for now. Next time we'll be searching for one of these sunstones that are required to enter the city of Atlantis. Alright, Dan, thanks for watching. Again, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's anything you want me to go over in a bit more detail, you just let me know. Alright, I'll talk to you later.